everybody had suspicions, and this Alpha 2 experience has proven at least most of them correct. She seems nice and sweet and innocent, but when it comes to the PvP life, as soon as she gets engaged with it, it's game over.
Oh my gosh.
She is all about just revenge.
I think with that, with you talking about open world and the raiding thing, let's go ahead and move over to Zerging, because that's going to be a great middle ground for the caravan conversation later. And first off, yes, we are on Lineth. We're on the server with pirates, and I will be honest, I did not know how I was going to feel about being on the same game server as somebody who has I don't even know how many people they have, but something about 20 or so actual guilds that are maxed out. So if you multiply that by 50, that's just 2,000 people, 2,500 people.
Just saying, we're on a server alone with the zergiest of zerg guilds, zergiest of zerg guilds that are available right now.
They're on EU as well. Okay, I didn't know that they were on EU as well. What to expect, or what do you think the node progression is as it is? Or okay, that's a great question too. I'm going to add that as well. But first and foremost, I kind of want to address something with Zerging. I think that Zerging alone sounds terrifying. The fact that there are that many people on a server that you would have to go up against, it feels very daunting. It sounds very daunting, but having actually gone into it, and you can look this up, Pirate Software, aka Thor, who is the leader of Actual Pirates, which is the pirate guild on our servers, he had a conversation with Steven, and he's aware that his guild is a Zerg just because he has that many people that want to play with him. And I'm not going to get into the nuances of to be one of the many numbers because of being a fanboy or whatever, or not. The fact of the matter is, if there's a community that you want to go and be a part of, that community, as it gains more, I'm not even going to say publicity, but the reputation of being a good community to be a part of just means that more people want to be a part of that community. And that's inadvertently how a kind of Zerg can happen. Now, the second kind of Zerg that Ashes allows you to do is the alliance system, right? Where you can ally with other guilds to kind of create, almost in a way, a Zerg of your own of multiple smaller guilds. And I think that when you look at how to handle a Zerg, you've got some people where you've got maybe a group of 8, and then I like to call them the piranhas, because that's what it feels like, being attacked by them. You've got a group of piranhas coming at you where they're 15 of them because they just got out of a dungeon or something, and you're in the open PvP area, and they just kind of come over the top of your group and just murder all of you and then move on their way. That's honestly how it feels. But when we, as a smaller group, come together and collectively grab other people, and the response times are there and the strategy is there, we often found ourselves being able to counter this initial either group that overtook us and won, or group that's trying to overtake us and still able to fight back and have a decent fight. And so I think with specifically the way that Pirate Software is running the game and his hopes for, impacting the game, knowing that he's inadvertently creating a Zerg, I think it's been very beneficial. And I think it was Nice Gaming or Stakeno that also went up against him in phase 1, and they had a very similar reaction. They had a very similar experience.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say definitely Thor has been very respectful in how he's trying to run the guild and how he's trying to get them to all behave. Actually be respectful. I mean, PvP's in the game. You're going to get ganked. You're going to lose your caravan sometimes. There's going to be a large number of people that are running around the map, taking out caravans, etc. So it's just part of the game, right? It's PvX. It's going to happen. But at the same time, he's been highly discouraging his guildmates from doing things like training mobs on other groups and like actually being a jerk. All of that is frowned upon. So we could have had it much worse if there was somebody running that large of a guild with a different attitude. It would be a whole different story on Lyneth for sure.
Yeah. And like, I mean, being on Lyneth, we've heard stories of how it is on Verra already.
Yeah.
So, like, we're aware, and it's unfortunate. And I mean, one of the ones is the giant, like, Steven smackdown of, like, do not talk to people like that. We're like, what's happening? Because, like, we don't really have that, knocking on wood, on Lyneth, you know? But, yeah, training mobs outside of a PvP situation, and a lot of people do it, but they aren't supposed to. Yeah. And I mean, there's that contention of, you know, we're on the 4th floor of Carfin and we want this space and somebody else wants that space. And that's a crappy way of handling who gets the space. But, you know, I think that it's still a contention that Steven is enjoying the idea of players having to fight over a section, or, you know, doing what we've done with pirates and other people many times and said, hey, you know what, there's actually a lot of mobs and they've adjusted it so the respawn timers are more than we can handle for like this entire section. Do you want to go 50-50? We'll go over here, you go over there. Cool. Let's do that, you know? And yes, exactly, Psy Hunter. Thor has said many times that if someone in the guild is actually doing something like griefing, they're removed if there is proof. And that's a great point. Like, that's, if I could have asked for any, I actually couldn't have. That is the best behavior from a guild leader, from a, like, who knows that their guild is a Zerg, kind of. I really appreciate that. And honestly, it's been really fun to PvP against the pirates. I've enjoyed it, and that's coming from somebody who's not really a PvP person.
Yeah.
It's felt they always have good attitudes. They say shout out GGs afterwards. You know, like, it's been fun. It's been interesting, and Vertec has definitely lost.
They'll definitely roll over you just like they would anybody else, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, because PvP is PvP. It's gonna happen. Like.
Yeah, but fight to me equals out DPS the other group till they leave the post. Yeah, I agree. Good, thanks. Yep, yeah. I agree.
I mean, we've even had other groups actually flag up and attack us to kick us out of an area too. And that's also part of it. For the better or worse, also fair, depending on your outlook of how you like to game, but that's definitely part of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to flag up and say, hey, you want to fight me over this space? Let's go. You know what? I don't need that space that badly. You can have it. Or, okay, sure. May the best man win.
Yeah. We have had some not quite so good spirited guilds dive into the PvP portion of it in a not quite so fair and balanced way. Like there's at least one I can think of that they only flock in numbers. And when they do, they roll through like a plague of locusts and just kill everybody who's in their way. They take over spots. But they never really engage in a fight unless they have superior numbers. And then they just, as soon as they win the fight, they move on real quick to another fight they can win. That's kind of poop behavior, but you know, again, it's coming with the territory.
Yeah. Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah. We could not get there fast enough. I'm sorry, Seiken. I no longer believe you on that anymore after the amount of times I hear you wanting to attack a character. You know what? It's only in very particular cases. Like if somebody takes over one of our caravans, I'm like, let's get their caravan back. Although if they crowbar it, you know.
He does.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Does.
No, I don't.
Everybody had suspicions, and this Alpha 2 experience has proven at least most of them correct. She seems nice and sweet and innocent, but when it comes to the PvP life, as soon as she gets engaged with it, it's game over.
Oh my gosh.
She is all about just revenge.
No.
And taking people out. She's blood hungry. It's true.
Lies.
Only in her alter ego, though. If you keep her in a calm state, everything's fine.
Pocket says, it was so funny, actually. I watched a person die today, someone in a fellow streamers guild who tends to be a bit more toxic in nature. I didn't heal and didn't res and even checked his body, but he didn't have anything, fully because his guild has done negative things to me. And in my response to a slash tell to me was, reputation matters, and it does. I am not bloodthirsty, Apple. But yeah, yeah, he did play Eve, and he doesn't want that toxic stuff in Ashes. And that's why I honestly am, after getting to know, you know, the different experiences of having Thor's guild on our server. You know what? I don't even want to go into that one. That's not even fair. I was asked to.
It's amazing and true. It's amazing and true. She stopped what she was doing on an alt, changed over to her main character, ran halfway across the map just to kill him 3 times.
Bye, Felicia. But yeah.
But yes, Hunter. Yeah, that's absolutely, and that's why, like I say, we could have absolutely had it worse on Lineth for sure. But the way he's running the guild, I can absolutely respect. Like, PvP is going to happen, just don't be a dick, is basically the how it breaks down, you know?
Is verified on Lynn. Yeah, I think I've seen verified on Lynn before. I don't think so. I can't say I've seen a lot of them, but I think I've seen the name once or twice. What guild are we? We are Nexus. We are part of the Nexus Guild. But this podcast is neutral and open to all. This is more of the community stuff, not like our guild-specific podcast.
Yeah,
so we rep Nexus with pride, but we welcome all with open arms.
Yeah, when it goes full launch, and once the freeholds are to a point we can do so, we're going to have ourselves a tavern. And it's going to be neutral territory. We fight in our tavern. But,
nope.
Yeah, actually, proud members of Nexus, though.
Yeah.
Verified.
But going back to the Zerg thing, I just wanted to give that, like, good vibes places. Yeah, exactly. We need some of that, you know? And like, going back to the Zerg conversation, you know, MagSpy had said, and these are actually really new posts, so this is from October of this last year. Very cool. Love the chatter. Thank you, Ravi. Love the vibes you're bringing. Thanks for checking us out and stopping in. Zergs are just going to be a part of things. Nothing will change that. The important thing is to have certain content, as I've said before, that's not auto-won by bringing a Zerg. So, for example, sieges and things that have like a set number. So it's like 250 v 250, etc. No fighting in taverns. Aw, you aren't serving the strong stuff. No. There can be, like, you know, your typical, you know, arm wrestling challenge and things like that, but food fights occasionally, but starting real fights, no, you can take that outside.
Hey, you never know. We might be able to do some kind of a bar fight Wednesday event or something like that.
That would be fun. That'd be fun. Yeah. Just get a bunch of bards in there, call it Bard Fight Wednesday, and have them throw tomatoes at each other.
Nice. Actually, I kind of like that. Food fight.
But yeah, I think that, you know, even in his call with Steven, he said that, you know, the way you handle these Zerg things, are you coming at them with like these tightly tuned groups of people that are in formation with each other and in communications with each other and able to kind of counter them? Because if you have a big enough people, you're probably not as close knit as a small, like, well directed unit could be. But the other thing is that, you know, like, they're asking what's the appeal of Zergs, and honestly, I think there's some appeal to being a part of the bigger mass. Again, if there's a community out there like Pirate Software, you know, who's going out of his way to build a positive community, there's a desire to be a part of something bigger than just you. And that was actually one of the comments, is that, like, not everybody wants to be in a small guild where they're like one of the main people, but they're like a supporting character, you know, like, hey, I was able to help them get X amount of cloth materials because I went out and I harvested like bluebell all day. I don't know. And like, maybe that's what made that person feel good, and, you know, being a part of a community. But also, for the opposite side, you know, some of us like our smaller knit communities where we know everybody really well and we're always in VCs together and we're always hanging out together and we get to know each other's play style really well. Hey, Reptile, welcome in. One thing that makes things weird is that we have 6 biomes worth of players and 1.3 biomes of space. Exactly. Distance and trying to control territory will spread larger Zerg guilds thin. I agree. Yeah. I agree. I could see that. Absolutely.
Well, but to be honest, all they need to control is 1 metro. They hold that 1 metro and they actually control a fairly large region.
1/5 of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Ah, thank you, Riptide.
Thank you, Riptide. Cheers.
By the way, all the money that we make via YouTube membership, Twitch subscription, donations, that all goes right back into the podcast. Vertec and I have real life jobs. We take care of our bills. We're good on that front. Everything that you guys do to support us, we put back into the community and into our podcast to make the stream better and, you know, do some fun shit sometimes. Like, we did the contest for the commercial contest, or like, you know, if somebody can't afford a month of a subscription, I'd love to do a giveaway for that at some point.
I can. So, speaking of which, we got to put together another. Well, I mean, we're gonna need to recover some funds first, but we got to put together another giveaway.
A little bit first. Like, yeah, we do. We should absolutely.
Because that was super fun. That was
very fun. Absolutely. I would say pirates, as big as they are, should control 2 metros and both scientific. Oh no, they would be teleporting back and forth so fast.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be crazy. They
literally chose 2 opposite continents.
Oh, that would be terrifying. That would be terrifying. They would so fast, but you can't bring materials and stuff with you. You'd still have to go all the way across the world in a caravan if you're trying to do that, or on foot if you're trying to do that. The money goes to People magazine so we can vote Vertec for the sexiest man alive in 2025. First sexiest Vec at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Letters also put a post up on the forums talking about, like, he doesn't see the downside, or they don't see the downside to, like, Zergs, at least for the alpha. Like, the small positives for the small guild is that you get to play with your guild, and then the bigger guild, you play with your guild and you can raid world bosses and Befallen Forge, and lots of people to contribute crafting and get a mare, etc. And then the Zerg guilds get to do all of that, and they can camp spawns and overwhelm anything, sheer numbers, and in this person's opinion, get invited to special events. Though I think in Thor's benefit, he's a streamer. He's a massive streamer. I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this. I didn't realize exactly who Thor was. I followed him on my social media as a developer, and I didn't realize until it was like 1-to-1 that he was also Pirate Software. So it's one of those, you just kind of swipe through your shorts, and he would show up on my shorts because I'd look up a lot of developer stuff, and I found his content amusing in that aspect. And then I realized he was on our server. I was like, oh, got it. Same person. But no, I have a lot of respect.
And welcome in there, Lulu. You're not super late. See the bar back. Nope. Just welcomed you in. You're right on time.
Yep, exactly. Break the Zerg breaker. One more thing I want to see as an anti-Zerg mechanic is players rolling deadly empty honeypot caravans. They're all armor and AoE effects entice the Zerg to attack and then make them regret being on the back foot near the caravans. Yeah. Honestly, I thought it'd be really funny to just like get a caravan at some point and just, we were talking about this in our guild, just one tiny little pile of poo just in the middle of the caravan, like empty crate thing, just one little square of poo, and that's all you got.
Put 6 crates in there. Each one of them has one single common poo in them.
Yeah. Just getting started in game. Is there a smaller elite PvP guilds fighting the Zerg? It depends on what server you're on, Ravi. It depends on what server you're on. I can't speak for Verra because I'm not on that server, but there's a variety of really good guilds on Lineth, and a lot of really good coordinated ones. I've been able to sit in and hear them, or like seeing their videos out there, so it's really awesome.
Yeah, from what I understand, depends on what you're looking for with the PvP. From what I understand, I've only talked to a handful of the folks from Verra, but I will say that they complain a good bit on the amount of PvP and war decks and this and that and shenaniganry happening there. So it's very cutthroat on that server, it seems.
Yeah.
The other server is, I mean, we have some good PvP encounters. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a couple guilds that are just out there to just destroy every single caravan they see, and a couple other guilds like our alliance. We'll run our own caravans, and we'll have just a raid full of people that are dedicated to fighting, just chasing down anyone that attacks our caravans, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So,
to the poop comment, Erwin says, considering the current state of poop, that'd be a treasure trove. Very fair. I mean, and yeah, Legendary Neurotoxin also said, shoddy Ashlar blocks are the best caravan crate filler, so useless that the trade managers don't even want them back from us. So I think that's funny because, like, yeah, you can be like, well, you got me on this one, but like this was, haha, you got the wrong caravan. I was the imposter. But it's also really hard to launch one of those, you know, unless you're streaming maybe and you're trying to bait people to come attack you. You're just doing it for the PvPs.